segment just on them in a little bit. Jacksonville, who did bench Blake Bortles yesterday, they put in with Cody Kessler, who's 0-8 as a starter. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. And then it said reporters tried to go in the locker room after the game and talk to him, and they said tempers was flaring in the locker room. We're going to touch a little bit about Jacksonville after this. The Dolphins, who was one of the more hotter teams, and remember at one point in time they was undefeated. Now all of a sudden the Dolphins keep finding themselves on the losing end, even though they won last week. But I was kind of shocked that they lost to the Lions this week. So the Dolphins, they one of my duds. The Eagles, who only lost 3 games last year, lost their 4th game on yesterday. What's going on with Philadelphia? We got to pay attention to Philly after a while. And the Cowboys, who were robbed. Max Kellerman said on ESPN this morning that he wasn't robbed, the team wasn't robbed. But if you ask me, the Cowboys was robbed with that call at the end of the game. I think Dallas should have won that ball game last night. Well, went to overtime and have a chance to win the ball game last night. So those are my duds of this week. Let's talk about my maybes, teams who coming up. The Houston Texans all of a sudden now find themselves, since Jacksonville and Tennessee taking steps back, find themselves in control of the division. So are this a team to be worried about now if they playing better football? We got to pay attention to the Houston Texans. The Chargers won this week and beating the Tennessee Titans. I think they find themselves at 4-2 now. Pay attention to them now, because with Kansas City still being undefeated, or we're still having one loss, it's going to come down to them in a few weeks. So we're going to pay attention to them after a while. And the Ravens, even though they lost yesterday to the New Orleans Saints, I like the intensity that they played in the playoff-style atmosphere game. Or they still could be a team reckoned in the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off bye this week. And my studs this week, yes, I will start off with the New Orleans Saints because there was a playoff atmosphere. I will talk about them in another segment after a while. The Rams, who's still undefeated. The Kansas City Chiefs, who had a wonderful performance last night. Like, they can really just put on the show for anybody, any night. And also the Minnesota Vikings, who got the big game coming up with the New Orleans Saints this weekend. So we're going to pay attention to that this weekend. I got it done all in the segment in my primetime music tab. So I'm kind of proud of that one. So let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I said on Twitter yesterday, I feel like Eli Manning to Jacksonville just makes sense. And my buddy, he's a Jacksonville fan. He says 2 same quarterbacks. Numbers wise, yes, I do agree. But I truly feel that Eli goes to Jacksonville. He's away from all this drama. He's away from the antics. He got one of the best receivers in the game, walking out early to go to the locker room because they're losing. You know, he's in the environment now that's so much younger. At one point in time, remember when Eli was there, Kurt Warner was the quarterback when he first got to New York, and he was around all these veterans. And like, since he's getting older and he's the OG of the team now, like, he don't have control like some of the OG guys that used to be there. I think him going to Jacksonville would make a lot of sense because first thing first, when you think about teams that he won Super Bowls with, Plexico Burress, he was about a tier 2 at best, sometimes tier 1 receiver until he shot himself. Then you look at Victor Cruz. Now, Victor Cruz did have the lead, but one of the more exciting players to watch at one point in time in his career. That is true. But I'll tell you like this. Eli Manning don't need the star-studded talent to win games. He don't. He really don't. Eli Manning don't need all that drama to win games. You really and truly, when you think about the Super Bowl team, the attitudes that was always there was on the defensive side of the ball between Justin Tuck, Dami Alfenwall, JPP, Michael Strahan. All them boys was on the other side of the ball. Look where Jacksonville have all their talent at. Tevin Smith. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Ramsey. They have all their talent is on the other side of the ball. Majority of it. Then with Jacksonville acquiring Carlos Hyde, remind me so much of Ahmad Bradshaw, the Brandon Jacobs. I mean, if you can really imagine having Carlos Hyde and a healthy Leonard Fournette, and then at that, you still throwing in T.J. Yeldon to come in and be more of your today's modern NFL running backs, to be more with the speed. He can do a little bit for you, this, that, and the other. But if you could tell me you could put in Fournette and Carlos Hyde run at people with that offensive line. Because I looked at a stat, and I'm not too sure. I really don't want to go there, but I believe that the Jaguars are ranked 10th in run blocking. And also, but I think what brings them down to being a mediocre line is that they're not the best at pass protections. I think they're like 16th or 17th as pass protection. And overall, I think that put the Jaguars, I think, at an overall about 17, 16 in the league as an offensive line. But what I'm telling you is that's what Eli Manning needs. You can take the pressure. And I think what Jacksonville have now is what they try to establish is that we're gonna run until you stop the run, then we're gonna start throwing the football. Game management. I think Blake Bortles has failed at doing that. Why not let Eli Manning, I think, that would kind of save his career with two workhorses in the backfield. Because I think when Leonard Fournette do come back, you got to keep Carlos Hyde. Because I think that's going to have two physical runners running at people. That's going to be hard to stop. Plus, it's going to save Leonard Fournette's career at an early age. These could be two Jacksonville greats. Both of them can really help save each other's careers. Big time. So, two physical runners. Yeah, you don't really have the star-studded talent at receiver like you have in New York, but you don't really need that. When it's time to make plays, I think he's going to be able to make plays for you. Let's put it like this. If you put Eli Manning in that situation last year, do you think as Jacksonville, speaking to some Jacksonville fans, when it came down to that fourth and 7, and he threw that ball to D.D. Westbrook, do you think he have enough to make that play? Or would they call another play that would fit Eli Manning? It makes you wonder a little bit. I think he could fix the problem. He's not your long-term solution, no, but I think this team is too talented and they're still in the thick of things in their division to be this bad. All of a sudden drop 3 straight losses. The world not over yet. It's definitely not over, but I think this team has a standard. Even because it showed how happy and confident they were when they beat the New England Patriots early on in the season. Now, if Eli Manning's not the problem, now I did read a couple of other articles that said, what about people like Tyrod Taylor? I cancel Tyrod Taylor for the fact of the matter is he got benched to Baker Mayfield. So he's out of there. Also, what about Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick haven't played in 2 years, so we don't know what type of shape he in. And I don't think anybody right now who has drama in the locker room ready to deal with a controversial figure like Colin Kaepernick right now. So Colin Kaepernick can't do it for you either. Teddy Bridgewater. To me, and I say this, to me they should have made that move earlier before the Saints did, but I'm pretty sure the Saints would give up a 3rd-round draft pick to get Teddy Bridgewater. And if they will trade him, Jacksonville will have to give them something back pretty heavy or then some just to get rid of him. Because I really think they didn't make that move just to have a backup to get rid of Tom Savage. They really made that move to have him for a long-term solution to keep this tradition going. Because how the Saints are playing right now is setting up for the future moves. And they still have assets. And they're going to keep adding assets to make them in the position to be in the hunt every single season. And if Drew Brees last year is next year, Teddy Bridgewater going to fall right in, and you're still going to have Taysom Hill. You still going to have a few others. And you're going to have all the talent that Drew Brees have. This team's still going to be set to be the last well for the next 10-plus years. And then some. Okay? And Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't believe in Ryan Fitzpatrick like that. For the fact of the matter is, I mean, he had classic games against the Bears where he just started staking up the joint, put Jameis Winston in, and, really and truly, I mean, Tampa Bay haven't been on fire since. So, no, he's not going to fix the problem. I think the only man that can fix this problem is Eli Manning to keep this team relevant right now, where they at, if they make the trade. And also, I thought about Robert Griffin, who's the backup in Baltimore, but we really don't know. The last game he ever won was with the Browns on December 24, 2016 against the San Diego Chargers. I don't really know if he really going to fix that role or fix it for him either, but all I know is I hate to see how talented this team is to go back down to being a top 5 draft pick team again. Because this is really one of the fun to watch teams. And also, I think the biggest disappointment so far in football is that I had high hopes about the AFC South. And right now, where we at going into Week 8, Yeah, this is not this kind of disappointing because I thought it would have been higher than what it is, but it's not. So I'm kind of disappointed, but things can still turn around for that division. It should turn around for that division because that's really one of the better divisions per talent wise in football. They just don't get a lot of respect sometimes. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. So let me go ahead. So on yesterday, oh God, y'all already know what happened. Saints did get a little magic at the end with Justin Tucker missing that field goal to tie the game to go to overtime, but the Saints did win on yesterday, 24-23. And what I call yesterday's win was a playoff type win. So now I look at the schedule from here on out. Since after the bye, the Saints find themselves 1-0 in the playoffs. That's how I'm treating the rest of this season. That was a playoff type atmosphere game against them two teams. I know they're not in the same conference, but at the end of the day, on how physical, that reminded me so much of a playoff game. Like so much was at stake because the Saints could find themselves, pull themselves away from the division a little bit, or the Baltimore Ravens could continue to find themselves pulled away from the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cincinnati Bengals. So they had a lot on the line. It was a playoff vibe yesterday in Baltimore, and I was very impressed with New Orleans, how they responded after being down by 10 points. So let's go ahead, let's get into that a little bit, and let's talk about that. To me, the play of the game was that third down when Breeze had pressure, and Breeze had a roll out to his right, and he had a throw going to the ground. Michael Thomas came back in and caught it, and he fought his way for that first down. And to me, that was the play of the game because if they went to fourth down, and had the punt with the momentum that Baltimore had, I think that game would have been over. Easily would have been over. Over. Because now you're putting too much pressure on your defense. Over. All in all, defensively, they didn't play a bad game yesterday, because even when they was down by 10 and they did make it 17-14, I thought to myself, this could still be typical Saints when the Saints is all of a sudden still falls apart and they let them go down the field and then this going to be it. And now we still got to trust our offense to force plays against the number one ranked defense in the NFL. They stuck together with each other yesterday. They worked hard. I was very impressed. Now, granted, I don't know what happened on the last play when John Brown was just wide open in the end zone, a busted coverage for sure. But besides that, and then on that last drive with the Baltimore Ravens, they had the face mask penalty with Marcus Davenport as well. But besides all that, I was impressed. And that's why I said this was a playoff type atmosphere game. Because there was moments in this game when I thought, man, like, this is going to make you better going into the postseason. Like, and really and truly, that's why I had Baltimore as a maybe. They lost, but they still had they had a lot of mental toughness in the second half as well. Even after, to me, they pride themselves all year long on not giving up touchdowns in the second half. To me, the reason why I was a little nervous about this game was because they went to Pittsburgh and they shut down that Pittsburgh offense. And I'm saying this, they got some of the best duos at receiver in the game with Juju Smith and Antonio Brown. And then they shut that down. They did not get in the end zone or did not score a point in the second half. That's it. So that makes me wonder a little bit. They did that on the road, so now we at home against Drew Brees and the Saints. But that didn't happen yesterday. The Saints wound up going down after 17-7. They put up 17 unanswered points until they scored at the end. But I'm impressed. Now we got to get prepared for Minnesota. But there's still some things I want to see get better. I want to see them run the football a little bit more effectively. And I think everybody can say that a little bit more. Just run the football a little bit more effectively. Defensively, I like how the defensive line did put some pressure on Joe Flacco to get that ball out quicker. But in the backhand and the secondary, still got to clean up some stuff. But the thing that I do like, and knock on some wood so far, is that they're not giving up the big plays over the top no more. Besides that last one the other day, they're not giving the big plays over the top. And I know John Brown had a big explosive play at the end of the first half, but King Crawley was there, but he got picked off in the middle of the field, and that's how he was able to run all the way down to the 2 yard line to set them up with the late touchdown going into the halftime. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.